Hello, welcome back to Voice of Royal Priesthood. Your host is Dr. Ayo Adenuga. In this series on the concept of time, we have done introduction, we have done the concept of time, looking at the power of having a good time in the secret place as the second lesson. And today we're going into the third lesson. And this third lesson is termed Time Invested Wisely Brings Blessing. Time invested wisely brings blessing. So, no, before we continue, remember that we started this topic looking at Psalm 90, verse 12. And I said at the introduction that the psalmist prayed this prayer after he had looked at the ordeals of men, right from verse 1 to 11. And he came to conclusion that the only thing that can save man from this ordeal is that we understand the concept of time and we appropriate this principle of time into our life and into our daily activities. And that is when we can actually be blessed in our daily activities. So Psalm 90 verse 12 says, "So teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom." So teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. Okay, so we continue. We will look at Ephesians chapter 5, verses 15 and 16. And Ephesians chapter 5, verses 15 and 16 says, I will first read in King James Version, then I will read in NIV version. The King James Version says, "See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. See that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil." Then the NIV version says, "Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity, because the days are evil." So you see there, it's talking about time, and in another interpretation is likening it to opportunity. So every opportunity you have to make effective use of them. But it's actually referring to in the concept of time. So looking at time as an opportunity is an opportunity for you. Remember, we are alive today because we have received that opportunity, grace from God. That's why we are all alive. And one thing I want to challenge your heart to know today is that every day God has given you is a trust reposed in you by God, that you can do better than you did yesterday. Your today should be brighter than yesterday, and your tomorrow should be greater than today. And if that is what you also want, you must follow the principle of time. God himself followed the principle of time in dealing with man. God is timeless. He has no bound when it comes to time. He's from eternity to eternity. But in our own dealings, in dealings with us, he used the concept of time. And remember where we started from. We had a diagram that shows lifespan. Lifespan, the time you were given birth to and the time of death. That is the lifespan. So to some people, it's 30 years. To some people, it's 50 years. To some people, it's 70 years. To some people, 90 years. Some 110. Within that time frame, what you do, what you achieve within that time frame is what is credited to you. whether good or evil, whether you impact other people's life positively or not. So let's continue. Many people do not live in the consciousness of the monetary value of time. And that explains why many hours of the day are spent on things that are not adding values to our lives. Many will even put valuable things ahead and say, I will do it tomorrow, and focus on things that will not add value to their tomorrow. But everything we're doing today, we must understand that they are investments against tomorrow. I was talking to my children. I told them, when you do your classwork, or you do an assignment, or you do an exam, and you receive your grade, even that grade is not the reward. That grade is an acknowledgement that you have invested into tomorrow. You have invested into your future. It's just an acknowledgement because the time of harvest is still ahead. So we need to know that whatsoever we are doing today, how we spend our time on daily basis, is an investment for tomorrow. It is important to learn that no one has eternity here on earth. No, not a single man has it. Not even Jesus Christ did not have eternity here on earth. The lifespan of Jesus Christ was 33 and a half years. Within that time frame, he achieved what he came to the earth to achieve. And he finished the work of your redemption and the work of my redemption. And that is why we are bold to say we are Christians today. So it is important to learn that we don't have eternity here on earth. Like I said, we are given a limited time here on earth. Let's look at the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 11. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the heart of men. Yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. So he puts eternity in our heart, in our consciousness, for us to know that there is eternity. But that eternity is not operating here now. What we have here, activities we have here, things we have to achieve here, they are time bound. So if you look at the way the verse is put here, he said, he has made everything beautiful in its time. It's talking about time here. First talk about time before he now acknowledge the fact that there is eternity, but that eternity is hidden in our hearts, in our consciousness. He said he also set eternity in the human heart. He did not say that we are operating that eternity here on earth. So there's no eternity here on earth. What we have here on earth is time. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Okay, so if you understand that there's no eternity here on earth, it shows that everything you are doing have time bound. They are time bound. So time. I mentioned that that our time on earth is from the beginning, that is birth to death. Every minute in our lifetime has a value, and its value is equivalent to what we do or achieve with that minute. So every minute you have in a day has value, and you determine the value. No one else. What you do with that time brings the value of that time. Whatsoever you achieve with that time determines the value of that time. You know, you can have, let's assume you have $20 in your pocket. You can decide to buy just a bar of candy with that $20, and someone else can decide to buy something else with that same $20 that is more valuable even to you with that $20. So what you invest your time into determines the value you put on that time. So it is important that we understand that we have a lot to do in determining the value of the time God has given to us. Don't forget that at the introduction, I mentioned the fact that as human beings, we are given the same time in each day. Whether you are rich, you are poor, you are educated, you are not educated, literate or non-literate, theist or atheist, no matter who you are given 24 hours in a day. So you discover that within that 24 hours, there could be 1 hour in a day that somebody is making $1 million, somebody is making $200,000, and someone else is using the same 2 hours to do something that is meaningless to life, to live his own or her own life that contributes nothing. So let's continue. Unfortunately, many devalue the worth of their time by what they do or what they did not do. By what they do or what they did not do. So when you know how to do something or when you are supposed to do something and you don't do it, you make that time like valueless. You steal away the value of that time by not doing what you are supposed to do, by not achieving what you are supposed to achieve within that time. So let's look at the book of Proverbs chapter 6, verses 6 to 10 or to 11. It said, go to the ant, you sluggard, consider his ways and be wise. Using ant as an example for us. It has no commander, no overseer or ruler, yet it stores its provision in summer. Summer is when the weather is warm. So the ants are able to move around that time and gather its food at harvest. How long will you lie there, you sluggard? When will you get up from your sleep? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come on you like a thief, and scarcity like an armed man. So I pray that will not be your portion in Jesus' name, but it takes action. So we have seen that ants have no commander, no one directing them, but they are sensitive. They know when to plant. They know when to go out and gather and keep in their holes. And they know this is the time of harvest when people are harvesting crops. They can easily get food now. They go out within that season. How do you know your own season to gather? Now, let's look at how people lose valuable time before we go into how you can invest time. Activities like gossip, goofing around, excessive time with technological device for pleasure like games, watching movie, when you ought to be working. All these contribute to the valuation of time. I've told us in the introduction to this concept of time that time is more valuable than money because you cannot buy time with money, but you can make money with time. So time is more valuable than money. When movies and games are done after profitable work, it becomes rewarding. So it is not a sin to watch movie. It is not a sin to play games. But when they are done, when you are supposed to be working, then you are losing value of the time. And remember that what you did not sow, you cannot harvest. Forget about all the deceits and somebody will tell you, come around, I will lay hand on you, I will pray this and that. If you don't do what God wants you to do, and you are expecting somebody to pray for you or lay hand on you, you are wasting precious time. God is not a magician and is not author of laziness. God worked, he worked 6 days. He completed his work before resting. It was on the seventh day he rested. So, who will you say you resemble if you put your own relaxation before work? Work brings dignity. Okay, so the same amount of time you spend on things that are not improving your worth is the time some convert into financial gain in millions of dollars. Some within two hours, 1 hour, they are discussing business. And as students, 1 hour of your work, of your study, can actually upgrade you, can lift your grade. 1 hour of review, 1 hour of studying your course material can be very helpful. But if you leave your work undone and you are playing games and you are goofing around, then you know that what you are doing is that you are devaluing the time God has given to you. And God is not happy when we waste his resources. Another thing is that some spend a chunk of their time on brooding over the wrong that people have done them in the past. In fact, some invest a lifetime on things that hurt them, while some invest in activities that will only yield hatred, discourse, and steal peace from many. So we need to be very careful and consider what we are doing on a daily basis. What am I investing my time into? What you invest your time into is what you will harvest at the end. Remember in introduction and the second lesson, it was made clear that if you have a minute in a day, that minute, you cannot invest that same minute into making profit and at the same time invest it into making loss. If you are making things that will bring loss, it cannot bring gain at the same time, at the same minute, that same minute. So we must understand how valuable time is in our life. Some in their youthful age invest time on planning how to take vengeance. Some even abandon their parents because of the hurt caused them by wrong choices made by their parents that has affected their lives. So they live with that bitterness for the rest of their lives. Let go and invest your life into how to improve yourself, how to go beyond what they are able to give you or what they are not able to give you. Move on, see what you can do, and see what God will do in your life. And when God has blessed you, don't look back into the place of vengeance. Remember, the same time cannot be invested into wasteful venture and gainful venture. So choose wisely. Jesus understood that you will be hurt and you will get to a point of decision as to what you must do. He emphatically commands that you must invest your time into doing good. In this situation, like I mentioned about maybe somebody hurt you, what must you do? Must you invest your time into trying to take vengeance? Must you invest your time into planning how to act bad to them so that they can also feel the hurts that they have done you? So let's see what Jesus Christ said in the book of Matthew chapter 18, verses 21 and 22. So Peter came to him and said, Lord, how oft shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him? Till 7 times? Jesus said unto him, I say not unto thee until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. We can do that simple multiplication and see, is that possible? Is it possible for somebody to offend you that many times in a day? So it shows that we have to let go so that we don't waste precious time, because the time you sit down holding, you can't think, straight at that time about how to improve your life, and you are with that time is the clock is ticking at that time. So please let go and let God bless you. Now, I have mentioned briefly a few things. You can look back into your life and see things you do. There are so many other things like procrastination, like indulging in pleasure when you are supposed to work. Like we have mentioned, there are so many ways we indulge in pleasure when we are supposed to do something valuable. It might not be your secular job. It might be that you have a gift that you can improve, but because you have opportunity for pleasure around, you don't even think about improving in those areas. There are so many things you can contribute to humanity. Have you thought about what you can do? So let's look into how to invest your time for blessing. And what is blessing? Blessing is not money. In many cases, many people think blessing is money. Blessing includes peace of mind, includes fulfillment. When you feel fulfilled in life, it is blessing. When you look around you and what you need, you see it. It is blessing. When you touch people's life and you feel good and you feel great within you that God has used you to bless somebody's life, it is blessing. So the first step is to take time to understand yourself. The first thing you need to do is understand who you are, because there are no two of you on the surface of the earth. You must know that. That is why your finger, your palm, the mark on your palm is totally different from others. So who you are and what is unique about you. So the first step in that one, which I say A, step A is spend quality time with your creator. If you look at the story of Jeremiah chapter 1, verses 4 to 10, though I may not be reading verse 4 to 10 precisely, but I'll just read a few lines here. Do I even have it here? But I think what Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 4, God told Jeremiah and said, before you were formed in your mother's womb, I have known thee. I have made you prophet unto nations. So that is a great deal. And that was a great deal in his life, because knowing fully well what God wanted of him will accelerate the achievement of his destiny. So the second thing is that if you have time, remember the second lesson, we talked about spending quality time with God in the secret place. So if you go back into that lesson, go and listen to that. Then spend time with your skill. Remember, skill discovered but not developed can lead to frustration. You know you have a skill, but you did not have time to develop it. When you see others around you that have the same skill and they develop their own, it can lead to frustration, because you know you can do what they are doing, or probably you can do better. But because you have not been diligent in developing your skill, there is a place of prayer, there is a place of developing skills. Imagine if you have the skill to sing and you don't learn how to sing, you just want to pray how to sing. It doesn't work that way. You have to learn how to sing. Somebody have to teach you. Remember, and there is something you have to know. Apart from the fact that you discover your skill, and in developing your skill, you have to be humble, because especially when you start growing, when that skill starts advertising you. Remember, people like, let's go back into the world of soccer. You have so many soccer players that are worldwide known, but their coaches, how many people know their coaches like they know the soccer players or the basketball players or football players? So even the salary that these uh, soccer players, football players, and basketball players earn annually, their coaches don't earn half of it. But yet, their coaches still have to give them instruction. You have to do this. This is what you do. Don't do this one. And they have to obey. So humility also is part of what you need Once you discover your skill, you need to develop your skill. And in developing your skill, you have to be able to learn from people that you think are lower than you, people that are higher than you, people that are your peers. So it's very important. The second thing is that you have to invest time in studying any major decision and action you want to take. You want to go into a business, you want to study something, you want to do any major thing in life, you need to first ask questions about that thing. Don't do things, don't go into business because, oh, that is what is raining now. Or I've seen 7 people around me doing it. No, it doesn't go that way. Study that thing you want to go into. Ask yourself questions. Ask people questions. Take time to ask questions. Take time to receive. So let's look at the order in which you have to ask questions. 1, you need to ask God. Ask God before you make any major investment or major decision in your life. It is good that you do this. Start with prayer so that you will not invest in what will not yield for you. Then ask questions from men around you, those who have done that kind of, if it's a business, people who have done that business before, or those who have idea about that business. Go and search. Go online. It is something you can get, information you can get online. Search and find out as much as you can. You will not know how much time you can save by doing that until you do it. You can save up to 5 years of hard labor trying to make ways through if you ask questions at the beginning. So it is very important that you ask questions, understand the possible challenges, and also understand the opportunities that you have. Now, strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat, which is known as SWOT analysis, is a principle, it's a principle that is commonly applied in business planning. We do this in corporate environment. We use it to plan, we use it to prepare for projects and stuff like that. Research into the profitability of business. The same thing we need to do about our lives. This thing I want to do, is it actually going to work? You need to understand what are your strengths. What are your strengths? What are the weaknesses you have when it comes to this business? Then what are the opportunities you have and what are the threats that lie on the way? So let's look at how the book of Philippians chapter 4 verse 13 applies to this. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Does that mean that you will not have challenges? No, that is exactly what it's saying, that there are challenges on the way. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. If there are no challenges on the way, there will not be the need for the word strengthen, the strength there. You can do it, you can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. And that is by understanding the strengths that God has given you, by understanding the challenge, the weaknesses that you have as far as this. It could be financial weakness, it could be knowledge, it could be that you are not what you want to do could be a business, it could be a business that requires an extrovert, but you are an introvert. But you will decide to work on yourself because you have taken time to sit back and analyze the situation and see that there are certain things that this business needs and I don't have it, but I can do it. I can actually come out of my shell. So I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. So with that, you be conscious of the weakness you have and how to work on it. If you need help, seek for help on how to work on the weakness. So with that, you'll be able to overcome whatsoever challenge is on the way. And let's look at another thing that you need to do so that when you invest wisely with your time, you will harvest blessing. Invest your skill in others. Invest your skill in others. Give and it shall be given to you. That is what the Bible says. It's a principle in the Bible. Unfortunately, many Christians have attached giving to only money given to the church. No, in fact, you have so many things you can give to humanity, and God will bless you abundantly. Time you spend, imagine time that Zuckerberg spent in researching into how he can connect the world. Imagine the time that Bill Gates spent working on Microsoft before these companies became what they are today, and some other uh, inventors. Let me tell you, the times they were inventing, the times they were thinking about humanity, they, they cannot, in their wildest imagination, think that it will blossom like this and serve humanity like this, and also become a source of this great wealth they have today. So think less of yourself, think about how you are going to serve humanity, and you will see how God will bless you. The blessing of God is hidden in serving humanity. Yeah. So don't limit your consciousness of uh, give to the issue of money. You have much than money you can give. So use your skill to bless humanity, whether Christians or non-Christians. That's why I use the word humanity, because if you look at the book of Galatians chapter 6, Galatians chapter 6, verses 9 to 10, it says, "And let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. As we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith." He first mentioned doing good to all men. All men means all men. So if you limit your mind to doing good to Christian, you are surcharging yourself. You're surcharging yourself, and you are taking away the blessings that you would have gotten by blessing humanity. See, these people that I've just mentioned, I'm not sure they are Christians, but they were thinking about humanity. They were thinking about everybody: Christians, Muslim, Buddhists, Hindus. So they were not demarcating. And you see, when it comes to the issue of financial blessing today, you see what they have. In terms of fame today, you see what they have. So if you want blessings from the skill God has given to you, don't limit yourself to what you can do to Christians. Think of what you can do to humanity. We have to come out of our thinking in a myopic way, thinking about Christians alone. Think about how you bless humanity. Let your time be used to bless the entire human race. Then we have just read Galatians chapter 6, verses 9 to 10, which talk about to all men. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is do not procrastinate. Do not procrastinate. God don't like procrastination. Jesus Christ don't like procrastination. If you are a Christian, if you call yourself a Christian, if you are Christ-like indeed, you will not like procrastination. Let's look at the book of John chapter 9, verse 4. John 9, 4. Jesus Christ said, "I must walk the works of him that sent me while it is day. The night come when no man can walk." Remember the lifespan of Jesus Christ on earth. I told you earlier that there is no eternity here for us on earth. Jesus Christ had no eternity here on earth. He had only 33 and a half years. And within that 33 and a half years, he was conscious of the time he had. And he said, I must walk the works of him that sent me while it is day. The night comes when no man can walk. There will be a time, if I don't do this work, I cannot do it again. I cannot do this work again if I don't do it within this time. So those he needed to heal, he healed them that time. The work of our redemption, he completed it before he left. What assignment has God given to you? What have you done about it? When you see him, the resources, remember the skills he gave you, they are resources. When Jesus Christ talked about talent, he was talking about skills he has given you, he has endowed you with. How will you go back to meet him and tell him you wasted all the resources? Until you start using the skills, you will not know you have them. Until you start digging deep into knowing who you are, knowing things that you are able to do, you will not know how far you can go with those skills. So you need to invest in yourself. And in conclusion, please do not forget, I said it either in lesson 1 or lesson 2 of this concept of time, that a time or a day on the calendar cannot be repeated. Remember that, because let's take for example, if let's assume today is March 4, 1988. Tomorrow, yesterday then would have been March 3rd, 1988. It means that March 3rd, 1988 was gone and it cannot be repeated on the calendar again. Never again. So anything you ought to have done yesterday and you did not do, you cannot do it on that third again. If you do it, if you achieve it after that, the earliest time will be fourth or probably fifth, or who knows how many number of days it will be procrastinated before it is finally achieved, if at all it is achieved. So please remember that every minute in your day has value, and you determine the value that is attached to that minute. And these are the things you will present before God. The time you have given to me, this is the good I have done with it. How God anointed Jesus of Nazareth, who went about doing good, healing all manners of diseases. So what good are you doing to humanity? What good have you done to yourself? And it's just about the concept of time, knowing that you are not going to be here forever. You see, sometimes we sit in the complacency of the Father. We think we're going to be here forever. No, it's not true. We are not going to be here forever. Everything you achieve today becomes an achievement. Everything you lose today becomes a loss. So, my friend, sit back, think about it. If this is the first video you are watching in this series, the concept of time, please, I indulge you, go back and watch the first lesson, watch the second lesson, and this third lesson. And the fourth lesson is coming. The fourth lesson will be dealing with how we can use the concept of the time, knowledge of time, to build good relationship, especially in marriage and in other areas of our life. The Lord bless you. Please don't forget to subscribe. Your host is Dr. Ayo Adenuga. Love you. Shalom.